Good afternoon. We are about to start our Turbo presentation sessions. Turbo presentations are our flag session during the symposium, and it's just meant to have good networking opportunities after. Everybody of the participants will have 2 minutes to present their project or institution or field of research. And I will have a list of names. I will only speak out the surnames in alphabetical order. I ask all those who are going to present to just sit a little bit closer so you don't have to run from the back of the room. And you will have a clicker here, so just to change the slides. Your presentations will be visible on the screen, and also the time that is running will be visible, and please try not to exceed this time. So let's please start, and the first is Catalina Andrejs, please.
It was a very good start of the presentation. Maybe it was because I had my phone and I had to switch on it.
Okay, let's try.
Okay. Again, good evening, everybody. I am Catalina Andrieș. I am the founder of the Museum of Communism in Bucharest. The Museum of Communism is a private initiative which emerged in 2018 while part of our team was operating historical tours. We noticed how strong the curiosity surrounding communism was, both among foreign visitors and young Romanians. In July 2023, now I have other issues. I pressed it.
You have to press.
Stronger, harder. Okay. So in July 2023, we launched our pilot project, Somewhere in Communism, a small exhibition in the old town of Bucharest, and the response exceeded all our expectations, confirming that there is a real need for accessible spaces of remembrance. Soon after, we started offering guided tours for school groups inside the museum. Also, we hosted several cultural events with people who directly experienced repression during communism events, which became very popular amongst young audiences. Within only 1 year, it became clear that the pilot project was no longer sufficient, so we began working on a larger location and expanded our team. Our work is driven by a major challenge that still affects Romanian society, as you probably heard earlier, which is disinformation. Many young people hear idealized stories from older generations who only remember fragments rather than historical complexity. This creates dangerous distortions of the past, and Ceausescu is seen as a good leader by many people still. Our new space opening soon in the Old Town will also host a conference room that will allow us to significantly expand our educational mission. Moreover, we will build a mobile museum initiative to bring education to those who cannot easily access Bucharest. Our museum follows an edutainment approach. History must be rigorous, but museums should also be engaging and interactive. We believe that remembrance becomes stronger when people emotionally connect to history. In the end, our goal is simple: to go beyond distorted views of the past and reconnect people with the real complexity of the communist experience. Thank you. I was a bit nervous.
And now I would like to invite Ricard Conesa Sanchez from Eurom.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Ricard Conesa. I'm from the European Observatory on Memories. It's an institution inside the University of Barcelona. I was born in 2012 with the support of the European Commission. And actually, we are a network of 63 partners across Europe, in the majority, among 27 countries and beyond Europe, also in America. No. And stop the clock. No, it doesn't pass. Now. Yeah, only the last year we work in the in 2025. The project's broader partnership ecosystem included 165 institutional entities and 155 individual contacts across 30 countries. Among our work areas, principal work areas, we've made the last year 34 activities and 15 deliverables. And our work areas are commemorations, citizens' engagement and awareness raising, education and training, research analysis and debate, especially dedicated to the dissonant heritage, and also fostering this networking and collaborations among different partners in Europe, trying to design new projects. And okay. We reach youth, teachers, researchers, practitioners, policymakers, media, and civil society. And it reached an online community of 6,721 followers. And according to our priorities the last years were how to fight the manipulation of history. And two of our main activities were this international conference in Barcelona, Twisting the Past. It's a common project, European project with Documento of Croatia. And this conference was featured for social media influencers in TikTok and YouTube and all these kind of social media, how to disseminate history in this media. And also, and also this activity, the School on European Memories, this was the fourth edition with the Jean Monnet House and the European Parliament, where 30 students of 15 countries, approximately, were in this school trying to design new strategies to face the misinformation and new strategies to face the manipulation of history. Thank you. Sometimes go back and go after.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay, so then I would invite Istvan Deák.
Is it a slideshow or do I have to push? It's a slideshow or do I have to push every day? You have to push. Okay. Do I see it? Okay. So imagine a time when wanting to leave your own country was classified as a major crime, a time when desperate citizens risk everything for a single breath of freedom. During Romania's communist regime, tens of thousands of people tried to escape the dictatorship. They didn't just walk across the borders. They swam across the freezing waters of the Danube, crawled through plugged fields targeted by searchlights, and hid in the false ceilings of trains or the cramped trunks of cars. They were called frontieriști in Romanian, border jumpers in English. For decades after the fall of communism, their stories remained largely buried or ignored in public discourse. That is exactly why the multimedia campaign frontieriști.ro was launched. Together with dedicated investigative journalist Marina Constantinoiu, we launched this platform that acts as a vital digital archive and a voice for the voiceless. endless. It explores a massive historical blind spot, shifting the focus from abstract statistics to deeply personal human experiences. Through gut-wrenching testimonies, audio podcasts, documentary footage, and newly unsealed archival documents, Fronteriștii.ro exposes the brutal reality for these individuals. The price of liberty was often high-stakes imprisonment, severe beatings, or even death. But this campaign isn't just about Romanian citizens. It reveals a shocking, wider international phenomenon. The platform documents also how thousands of East Germans travel to Romania during their summer vacations, specifically searching for a weak spot in Europe's deadliest border to cross into the West. Thank you.
Then I would like to invite Magdalena Drężek.
Good evening. It's an honor and privilege to be with you today. I represent the Pilecki Family House Museum in Ostrów Mazowiecka, Mazovia region, Poland, and briefly will tell you about our key educational program, which is the Patron Connects Us. It's dedicated to the cavalry captain Witold Pilecki, one of the greatest Polish heroes of the 20th century, and it brings networks of the schools named after Witold Pilecki and creates and brings them together. Our museum plays a role as a connecting hub here, and when I can say that education is a main role and heart of the program, of course we develop it in different activities, different forms: education, meetings, teaching materials, teacher support, and tournament. We provide special materials, but the program has two main pillars. The first is the meeting with the patron, an annual gathering of schools, of students, when they can exchange experience about their patron and also inspire them each other. Of course, they have some other workshops and webinars, but the other pillar is the school tournament of Witold Pilecki schools, and it's very popular, well known, and it's engaging teachers and students. It combines teamwork, sports activity, fields activity, historical challenges. But what is most important, they are really creating and building a community. So we understand that it's not only a memory about saying about the past, because we know that it's only remembrance, to not preserving the past, but also have some mutual communication, mutual celebration, and we think that our role is to give them, help the new generation understand, interpret, and give them a possibility to give a new role to make the remembrance and past carry it further. So we believe in our museum that it's truly, how it truly can stay alive this way. Thank you very much, and sorry for my time.
Thank you. And now Ahmed Durak, if I pronounced well. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cem from Turkey. I am a history teacher at Turkish Education Foundation for gifted high school students. And the idea of our project was born on this very building, last year's Euroclio conference, with my Hungarian colleagues. So we made this project for the quincentennial of the Battle of Mohacs. And as all you know, this year is the 500th of Battle of Mohacs. And we made a call for applications for our students, 8 students from Turkey and 8 students from Hungary's gifted students institution, Matthias Corvinus Collegium, selected 8 students from each other, totally 16 students. So there are 4 big teams, and the students are creating, these 4 groups are creating articles to be published by Matthias Corvinus Collegium at the end of this year. So the first phase of the project was in Sabancı University in Turkey, and together with students we had excursions in Istanbul, and this is from Topkapı Palace, and we had the project start at Sabancı University with my colleague Benedek Alper, and then the students worked on medieval Hungarian primary sources and medieval Ottoman Turkish sources. So the 4 students are writing an article right now, and they are looking at the primary sources on their own language. So it's a collaborative work, and it creates a mutual understanding. And we made a presentation last week, 3 weeks ago in Euroclio in Brussels about the primary source objectives for history students. Thank you very much.
That was ready on time. Massimo Flore.
Thank you very much. My presentation is very simple, it's only 1 slide. And I'm Massimo Flore. As I introduced myself before, I'm a strategic expert on information manipulation. I want to talk about democracies and collective memories, because, we believe that democracies are built on institutions, on constitutions and procedures. But this is only part of the story, because they also rely on shared symbolic references that help, for decades, have helped to define what was legitimate, what belonged to the political community, and how political conflict can be contained. And for decades, collective memory played a part on this role. If we think about events like the Second World War, the fall of dictatorships, or the European project itself, all of them provide a framework within which disagreements remain broadly manageable. But today something is changing. Across Europe, the same historical events increasingly generate competing interpretation. They remain permanently active instead of gradually converging through public debates or institutional mediation. And as memory remains politically central, it is becoming less capable of functioning as a stabilizing reference point. And what interests me is not simply the existence of competing narratives, because, democracies have always contained pluralism and disagreement. The question is why disagreement increasingly struggles to reach closure. And my argument here is that this transformation is connected to the structural changes in the information environment. And digital ecosystem allow individuals and groups to continuously validate alternative interpretation of the past and coordinate around them without relying on a shared spaces of meditation. And under this condition, collective memories become less effective at providing common framework capable of sustaining political coordination and democratic legitimacies. And these are some of the themes that I explore in my forthcoming book, The Post-Disinformation Era, which examine how this transformation are reshaping the democratic coordination, the legitimacy, and the conflict in contemporary society. And thanks.
Thank you. Jan Garner.
Okay, Hi everybody, my name is Ian Garner. I'm based in Poland at the Pilecki Institute, different from the museum, although we love you guys, you're doing great things. And I want to talk to you about a new way that we've come up with to understand Russia's information war and its relationship with the past. Because scholarship has a bit of a problem with how Russia treats the Second World War and the war today, in that scholars argue that Russia doesn't just say it's repeating the Second World War today. It says that the war today is literally a continuation. It is the same as the war of the past. There is a collapse of time. And yet at the same time, scholars say we live in a very fragmented world online. We live in bubbles. We live in sharded realities, is one theory. So we basically wanted to put this to the test. And what we did was we looked at Telegram, because it's easy to deal with, and we looked at the Battle of Stalingrad, again, because it's relatively easy to find. We hoovered up about 2 million Telegram posts from 2023, and don't worry, you don't have to be able to read the map. We found a massive network of accounts, state-aligned accounts, some real, some fake, some true believers, some state media, all sorts of different things. You get into this very confusing kind of whirlwind that are all sharing, not just resharing posts, not just resharing images, but talking in the same language about the past. They are literally resharing the same textual strings. And this network, when you look at it from this big computational perspective, spills well beyond the boundaries of what the state is saying. And so we christen this terminology ambient war. This explains that war memory in Russia can function at a level that is pre-discursive, it is pre-narrative, it is conceptualized in textual strings alone. It's so everywhere that it just feels like it's part and parcel of daily life. There's the QR code, download the preprint, email me, and I'll be happy to talk.
Thank you so much. Lucas Holata.
Hey everybody, I'm replacing my colleagues from the Institute for the Study of Totalitarian Regime, and I'd like to introduce the long-term project called Czechoslovaks in Gulag. It started already in 2014 when Ukrainian archives were opened, and the project continues up to date despite the war. Since then, 100,000 of papers were documented and digitized, and also digital archive were created, and the archive is freely available to anybody. What is important, the important information of my side is that the project is not focused exclusively on Czechoslovaks right now, but also any other nation in Europe. That's why my colleagues, Adam Hradilek, Jan Dvořák, seeking for any kind of international cooperation. That's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Anton Hruboň.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Department of Security Studies at the Faculty of Political Science and International Relations of Matej Bel University in Banská Bystrica, which I work for, is currently implementing 2 interdisciplinary research projects closely connected to the focus of the symposium. Our faculty holds a unique position within the Slovak academia as a country's only institution systematically preparing future diplomats and experts in international relations and security policy. This profile strongly shapes our research focus on collective memory, geopolitical narratives, disinformation, and societal polarization. Since 2024 and 25, with the support of the Slovak Research and Development Agency, our department has been conducting 2 projects bringing together historians, political scientists, and literary scholars. The first examines the history of anti-Americanism in modern Slovakia, while the second analyzes Russophilia as a long-term component of Slovak political culture. Both projects investigate how myths, disinformation, and selective interpretations of the past shape political imagination and preferences in the present. We explore how narratives about the West, Russia, Soviet Union, sovereignty, or traditional values were instrumentalized across different political regimes, from the 20th century authoritarian systems to today digital information environment. We understand anti-Americanism and Russophilia as two interconnected phenomena, linking historical memory with contemporary geopolitical choices. They influence how societies interpret crises, define their collective orientation, and ultimately decide which direction they will take at critical historical crossroads. We believe that Slovakia offers an important Central European case study for understanding the political consequences of memory wars today, and we warmly, of course, welcome opportunities for future international cooperation and comparative research. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will have the participant online, Artyom Kamovic.
Hi everybody, my name is Artyom and I'm presenting my paper called Born Digital Cultural Heritage and AI. What does it mean when people wander a Minecraft server searching for a castle built by a legendary player 10 years ago? Or when people create Twitter Hall of Fame and seek out those original comments to reply to them? How is it different from scratching your name into the Berlin Wall? Why do Belarusians rewatch videos from the 2020 protests returning on the same date every year? Or why do they use murdered protesters' Facebook pages as memory walls? Or write songs citing a protester's last message in a neighborhood chat? It all means that heritage is being born in the digital, being heritagized, contested, sustained, and forgotten. But there is one thing I haven't mentioned. Slob. Cheap, AI-generated content is flooding the internet. Meaningless images, bots inflating reach with hollow text. I'd argue this is actually accelerating born digital heritage practices as people search for something authentic, much like earlier heritage movements emerged in response to a world filling with mass-produced things. My research focuses on bots invading digital spaces of memory. Look at any Belarusian protest song on YouTube. Below it you'll find human-like comments from bot accounts defending Lukashenko, harassing the people the song honors, and undermining its very purpose. Where we once threw red paint on dissonant monuments, now bots spam offensive comments. So the question becomes, if heritage is a discourse, what happens when the discourse is dominated by non-human actors? What do bots change about how people experience heritage on a bodily or affective level? What does this transform genuine acts of heritage making into heritage itself, precisely because of their rarity and authenticity, surrounded by plastic, lifeless noise? And thank you for your attention.
Okay, I would like to invite Oksana Karpiuk.
Hi everybody.
Hello everybody. First of all, I am really grateful to be here and to present World Childhood Museum Ukraine. My name is Oksana Halushka and I am the Operations and Development Director for the institution. So we were established in 2018 following the organization in Bosnia and Herzegovina with the idea to document the experiences of those whose childhoods were affected by war and making those experiences visible in the society. So far, we have collected the largest archive of children's testimonies that will be made available to you, to the researchers in the future. Also, the objects connected to the children's stories are exhibited both in Ukraine and abroad. When we talk about the documentation, it's sometimes such extreme experiences as internal displacement, refugee journey, but also some common ones like family interactions, schooling, play, leisure, living conditions, and of course the practices of resilience. If we talk about the collection, there is the collection of objects given to us together with interviews, and at this point of time we have the collection of 935 interviews together with more than 1,665 objects. The core of the collection is, of course, the objects from Russian-Ukrainian war since 2014, but also we have some collection dedicated to the childhood during World War II. You can see some objects and how we collect them here. And if we talk about the museum, it's not only about the working with the collection and the testimonies, it's also about making the exhibitions happen, creating the public programs for the teenagers, and also developing the workshops and lectures for the researchers and other professional audience. Also, we have recently launched a dedicated educational branch for the teachers to be further used in schools. Again, please follow us on the social media, and I will be happy to connect with you throughout the next days. Thank you.
Ineta Lansdowne.
Just with the clicker. Okay. Yeah, well, good evening. I'm Ineta Lansdowne. I represent the Education Department of the Museum of Occupation of Latvia. And in our work with both local and international schools, online and in person, it often becomes obvious what communicative memory and information bubble the students and their families live in. So, for example, in 2022, just like in Lithuania, the full-scale Russian attack on Ukraine was a catalyst for the general mood in society and for the government to remove any still standing monuments to Red Army soldiers as so-called liberators. So in one class, on topic of resistance, there were students from eastern Latvia. It's a city close to Russian border. And they made this poster, which you see, Atgrieziet Aļošu, or Return Aļoša, which is a typical nickname for Red Army soldier statues. The particular statue is actually in our museum's archive now. So how do we address these narratives? Well, the foundational educational strategy is the timeline. So it's the facts, the context, cause and effect, the big picture. Of course, big emphasis is on personal stories, and we also include perspectives from multi-ethnic families. And for conclusions, let the students speak for themselves. I just picked a few quotes, and for example, I realized how many Latvians, and not only Latvians, were ready to defend their country and the people who lived in it. How united all of Latvia was, Latvians, Russians, Ukrainians, Lithuanians, and others as well. A new perspective on the Soviet times. So thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to connect with you as well.
Thank you. And now Marek Lauerman.
Good evening, everybody. Turbo is my favorite character from the cartoon. He's a snail. I try to be faster. I'm from the small NGO called Endowment Fund of Dagmar Liblova. And we are focusing work on the remembrance of Holocaust culture and history. And those are the slides who already has been mentioned, the context has been mentioned in other presentations. But we believe, we ask ourselves how to equip the young generation with the competencies they can help navigate them among the disinformation, historical facts, and some social media influence. And And we believe that one role, one really function tool are the LARP games, or we call it like a workshop with the LARP features, live acting role playing. So we create a set of the workshops in which the children may face and try to resolve some ethical, moral dilemmas that people living under the dictatorship regimes has to be facing. And we created 3 of them. You can see them on the screen. And now that it works, that this experiential learning really works, that it has influence and their competencies, but we try to just evaluate the approach in the different national contexts. So we try to test how it really may work in different Central European countries, and that's why I'm here, just to share this idea with you in some deeper details. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And Dagmara Mańka-Wizor.
I'm from the Museum of the History of Polish Jews in Warsaw, and we have started law enforcement trainings in 2013. We are focusing on police, and today I would like to say about challenges we are facing due to latest geopolitical context. Basically, we do anti-discrimination training, and being Jewish museum, we focus on anti-Semitism. But no one expected that Russia attack on Ukraine will impact anti-Semitic narratives. First, old anti-Jewish stories like we gave them a safe home for centuries, we opened our hearts for them and they are ungrateful, were instantly borrowed and used to build anti-Ukrainian sentiments, just replace Jew with Ukrainian. Second, within different conspiracy theories, revealing Jewish benefits from the war prevailed. It was new, but so far could have been discussed and understood by our trainees. And then October 7th, and its aftermath came. Today, compassion toward Gaza and criticism of Israel are common. Unfortunately, they often turn into anti-Semitism, Holocaust distortion, Holocaust denial, justifying attacks against Polish and European Jews. The distinction between legitimate political criticism and anti-Semitism is not always obvious. Police officers face the same social tensions and absorb the same biased information as everybody else. In our training, we explain why specific graffiti is not only vandalism or property destruction, and why certain statements go beyond only criticism of Israel. We help officers to understand that we are facing real, extremely strong wave of anti-Semitism that directly threatens Polish Jews, but also Polish society. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Robert Mieczkowski.
Thank you. The insights I'm sharing today are part of an ongoing research project titled Anti-Imperial and Imperial Memory and Maritime Security in the Baltic Sea region, which I'm carrying out as an independent researcher affiliated with the University College of Professional Education. In this turbo presentation, I will examine the geopolitical situation in the Baltic Sea region, through the analytical lens of imperial and anti-imperial memory. When we discuss maritime security, we often focus purely on military hardware. However, the contemporary Baltic cannot be fully understood without decoding the clashing historical narratives that drive modern state behavior. And the first part is the myth of empire and strategic asymmetry. On the one hand, we can observe continuous attempts by Russia to maintain its traditional myth of empire. For the Kremlin, for example, the Baltic Sea remains Peter the Great's window to Europe. Paradoxically, due to the war in Ukraine, Russia's land forces in the Kaliningrad Oblast have been largely depleted, leading to de facto land demilitarization of the enclave. Yet to sustain its imperial status, Moscow has shifted its strategy toward asymmetry. Russia relies heavily on its remaining anti-access systems, nuclear signaling through Iskander missiles, and gray zone provocations. These are calculated signals designed to project a historical right to regional dominance despite diminished conventional strength. And the second part is the new order and opposition. On the other hand, we see a clear opposition to this Russian policy through the emergence of new order in the region, imperial one, driven by the consolidation of NATO and the European Union, ensured in an acute anti-imperial memory of foreign occupation. Countries like Poland and the Baltic states view even weak and Russian as a long-term existential threat. This trauma pushed Finland and Sweden into NATO, creating a unified institutional front, while these states view this new Euro-Atlantic order as vital guarantee of sovereignty. Moscow perceives it as an expansionist encirclement. And conclusion, ultimately, every modern security flashpoint in the Baltic Sea region, from undersea infrastructure sabotage to airspace violations, is rooted in this psychological war of words. Maritime security here is no longer just a calculation of active regiments. It is a conflict where a fading imperial myth aggressively collides with a newly established regional imperialistic order. Thank you very much for your attention.
Sorry to hurry up. Now there will be the video of Mieroszewski Center.
The Mieroszewski Center is a Polish public institution focused on dialogue and cooperation with Eastern Europe. We work at the intersection of historical reflection, public debate, and international cooperation, combining research, publishing, cultural diplomacy, and public-facing projects. The Polish-Ukrainian Historical Congress, which brought together around 100 historians from both countries to discuss even the most difficult issues of shared history, is exactly the kind of work we believe in, history as a tool for dialogue.
To jest pierwsze od początku wojny spotkanie polskich i ukraińskich historyków, gdzie mogą porozmawiać o całym tysiącleciu polskiej i ukraińskiej historii.
Конгрес є такою прекрасною нагодою сказати, почути, подумати надалі і змінити щось у своїх підходах, у своїх дослідженнях.
Прагнемо дійти до згоди в багатьох питаннях, які сьогодні ділять нас. Найважливіше в таких питаннях – це діалог.
Cieszę się, że spotykamy się w tak obszernym gronie. Chodzi o to, żebyśmy się zgadzali co do faktów i rozumieli, dlaczego inaczej je interpretujemy.
Zrozumienie między sąsiadami, którzy mają za sobą 1000 lat wspólnej historii, jest potrzebą wieczną.
Ми звіряємо, що ми зробили, тверді знання, факти, джерела і куди рухатись далі.
Find out more, mieroszewski.pl.
Thank you so much. And now instead of Mirosław Mizera, there will be Arina Spirun.
Okay, can you hear me? Thanks. Can I have a presentation, please?
The Miroszewski Center is a Polish pub.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine, that's fine.
Just a second.
Yeah, that's fine. Or I can do without. That's also good.
Let's give it at the end. Is it it's
I
okay?
can do it without presentation if you
No, but don't worry, you
Okay,
just made
okay,
it.
okay.
Okay, I think we are here. Yeah? Okay.
Sorry for that. All right. All right, so about us. Our non-governmental organization, all right, this is not working at all. All right. Our non-governmental organization, Hoaxes and Frauds, was established in 2024 and is a continuation of the successful 7-year work of Slovak police force profiles on social networks, Facebook and Instagram. NGO explains individual hoaxes, analyzes misinformation, carries out preventive, educational online and field campaigns, draws attention to scams, and our flagship activity is the campaign-type project, which is called Hoaxes Don't Stick With Me, and we also have recently finished our another campaign, which is called Russism Is, in cooperation with one Ukrainian organization. Also, our other activities include lectures and discussions for students and teachers of primary, secondary schools and universities, and we are constantly receiving dozens of demands for such lectures. We also are doing podcasts where we have welcomed actors, psychologists, diplomats, security experts, senior military officials from Slovakia and Czech Republic so far, and they are posted on Instagram and Spotify and also our social media. We also do post on social media on selected or current topic in the field of disinformation, foreign malign influence operations in Slovakia, on our profiles on Facebook, where we have 41,000 followers, Instagram with 30,000 followers, and also YouTube and LinkedIn. Also, we are going to organize a Stratcom Under Pressure Forum in Bratislava in November, where we're gonna have 120 guests from 30 countries and institutions, and 30 representatives from 12 embassies of EU and NATO countries. We are also doing a professional publications with practical guides and brochures for young people aged 15-19, and also annual report on disinformation in both Slovak and English, which is the only one of its kind in Slovakia, and also thematic analyses on specific topics. In a year and a half that we are been in existence, we have been able to forge partnerships and gain support from embassies of the USA, Netherlands, Canada and Switzerland to Slovakia, the cities of Trenčín, Vrútky and Bardejov, Digital Coalition, NATO, 365 Bank and many others. And we also have a merchandise to promote and support fight against hoaxes, and we are still open for any possible partnerships. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Now, Bratislav Mojto, postbellum.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Today I'll present our mission in rhythm and rhyme. At Postbellum Slovakia, we work every day to keep living memory from fading away. In a world where disinformation spreads fast and wide, we turn to real voices that one can't deny, recording stories from times of fear and war, of the Holocaust, dictatorships, and so much more. Real people, real lives, in their own honest tone, reminding us clearly we're never alone. Our vision is simple, from data to dignity, turning archives into shared humanity, not static collections, but living in sight, where memory helps guide what we know is right. With digital tools, we preserve every trace and make testimonies an accessible space. At memoryofnations.eu, we store and we share the voices of witnesses preserved with care. Technology helps us from search to translation, but ethics and empathy remain our foundation. For memory must stay deeply human in tone, not just information stored on its own. We also bring history back into the land with projects that walk where past stories stand, like Hidden Children, where footsteps retrace the path of survival, time, and place. We teach young educators, future voices of schools, how memory becomes one of their greatest tools. And through Puzzle of the Memory of Nations online, we connect learning, stories, and digital design. And now we see clearly in this modern time that memory must also be shared through rhyme. Through podcasts, theater, and creative art, we educate history and bring it to heart. For art gives the past a living new voice, helping new generations understand and rejoice. And in this connection of story and truth, we protect the future by remembering youth. A humble virtual mic drop drifting through the air, a quiet little echo saying, "I was glad you were there." If you want to cooperate, reach us at postbellum with .sk. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, Lara Nagel, if she already came. I know she had a train late. You came. Okay, perfect.
Hello everyone. A short disclaimer, I'm not in my conference outfit because I was running late, the train was late, but we don't want to be in the ivory tower today, we want to go into the practice, into the historical political education. So you see this image here of the menorah. In March 2022, Russia attacked the Dubritsky Yar Memorial Complex near Kharkiv, where in January 1942, around 10,000 to 12,000 Jews from Kharkiv were shot brutally by the German occupiers of the city. This was an intentional attack, a deliberate act targeting at Holocaust remembrance as an integral part of an open, diverse, and democratic Ukrainian identity and society today. Why is it important to talk about this in times where individuals, where communities, where institutions are facing questions of bare survival, of displacement and destruction? These are the questions that lie at the heart and the center of this newly developed e-learning called Nothing Was Left, the Holocaust by Bullets in Ukraine. We structured it around 2 modules in cooperation with our partner Yahat and Unum, an expert organization in the field. Through biographical and local history approaches, you learn in-depth knowledge about Holocaust by bullets, about remembrance practices today, but also about how Ukraine only could develop this remembrance through independence from Soviet Union. So for educators, this module is very good and great because we have a short movie called Holocaust in Kharkiv by the Ukrainian filmmaker Lesya Kharchenko. This movie can be used in seminar settings, in classrooms, and is we add educational materials. And coming back to the question, we believe that such interactive tools and movies can open eyes that are door openers to so we can encounter how memory shapes societies today. On the one hand, as a direct attack, but on the other, also as a tool for resilience and for resistance, for the protection of our open societies. I'm screening the QR code, so you can all, if you like, check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Nikola Ostojčić. Please, all the other who are going still to present, just come closer a little bit so we don't lose this time.
Okay. Good evening. Just a second to see. Okay. My name is Nikola, and I represent Serbian Cultural Society Prosvjeta from Croatia, Zagreb. Prosvjeta is one of the central cultural institutions of Serbian minority in Croatia with more than 8 years of continuity. It is not only a space for Serbian community, especially today in Croatia, it is also a meeting place for different minorities in cultural, academic, artistic and civil society sense in Croatia and in the region of Balkan in general. Our work was and still is shaped by two major events. It's the first one is Second World War, during which the position and experience of the Serbian community in Croatia shaped the founding of Prosvjeta in 1944. And the second one is the wars of 90s, after which organization had to adapt, renew itself in every sense, and redefine its role in profoundly changed society. Today, Prosvjeta works through almost 60 local branches. You could have seen it on the slide somewhere. Yeah, here. But also it functions along with cultural center in Zagreb on the left. But not just with that, but also with education programs, publishing programs, which is mostly connected to the theme of this program. And maybe most specific of our programs are Days of Serbian Culture, exhibitions, concerts, public discussions, and other activities. And speaking of education, Sava Mrkalja Summer School of Serbian Language and Culture. For us, memory means preserving identity for all minorities, but also opening difficult conversations. Prosvjeta does a lot of programs. If you have any questions, I'll be here for the whole time of conference, so we can speak more about it in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank you. Michał Pawlaszek. We don't have him. Okay. Aleksandra Peca.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alexandra Peca, and I represent GUIC, a youth NGO based in Bucharest, Romania. And I want to present one of our initiatives, În Vizită, which we translated as Visit It in English. This is an initiative that we started in 2016 with the aim of transforming learning into experience. And we organize guided visits to meaningful institutions and places, connecting young people directly with topics such as history, remembrance, or civic engagement. The latest edition of this initiative was a visit to the Pitești Prison Memorial, where the participants could learn more about the history of the Pitești experiment, a brutal re-education program that happened between 1949 and 1951, where political prisoners were subjected to extreme physical and psychological torture. By being physically present in the cells where these atrocities happened, participants moved from abstract knowledge to reflecting on how such things became possible. This is especially important because in times of disinformation and memory wars that we are living, experiential learning is essential, and În Vizită helps young people critically engage with the past, question narratives, and build informed perspectives. We are looking to expand this initiative across Europe and collaborate with partners interested in memory, education, and youth engagement. So if you are interested in that, let's turn together places of memory into spaces of dialogue and learning. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Quast.
Yeah, hello. My name is Christina Quast, and I'm a team member of Werkstatt.bpb.de. That's a project from Germany which is publishing about digital education in practice with a strong focus on politics and history. And it's done by the BPB, the German abbreviation for Federal Agency for Civic Education. And here you can see what the team is doing. There are English subtitles. So as seen, we are publishing reels and posts on Instagram, but if you don't like to be on the big tech networks, all of the most important posts and also all of our videos are published on the website. And they are also available to download, so you can use them, which is not possible on Instagram. So, and even if you want to follow us on Mastodon, that's also possible, the open and decentralized network, which is similar to Twitter. And, of course, our website also has articles and interviews on very current topics, like the revisionism of history by the far right, or AI slop at TikTok about history or rewriting history. And the good news is all of our content is under a Creative Commons license, so you can use it, or everyone can use it for free just by citing the source. So if you're interested in our project, just subscribe to the newsletter or talk to me.
Thank you. I know it's overtime, but we still have 5 presentations. Let's give them the chance, especially that we started a little bit later. So I invite Liam Skillen.
Hi everyone, I'm Liam from CNOT. We're a community archive based in Nottinghamshire in the Midlands, and
led by Bulgarian-British artist Kristina Nenova as the conclusion to the CNOT's Capturing Shadows programme. Over 2024, a series of events and exhibitions encourage local people from the Central and Eastern European community to share material for an online archive, creating a space for remembrance, celebration, reflection, and inspiration for future generations.
Essentially, it's the outcome of a workshop led by British-Bulgarian artist Kristina Nenova as the conclusion to a project we were running in 2024, a series of events and exhibitions encouraging local people from the Central and Eastern European communities to share material for an online archive we were establishing, which would create a space for remembrance, celebration, reflection, and inspiration for future generations. A number of the photos that we received came from communities that settled in the post-war years, the direct result of being displaced, forcibly moved, and exiled. So despite making up the largest minority in the area, a lot of these narratives were still absent from local museums, cultural spaces, and programmes. And during the workshop, participants physically pickled some of these photos for a new display that's toured several cultural institutions locally. And the photos, they've been preserved ever since, and our digital collections volunteer, Kaylin, documented the results, which you can see on screen now. Some were conserved, some distorted, and Kristina's work explores how we attempt to preserve what's already fading in parallel with our collection, pleading for memory not held in other collections, and attempting to preserve stories from a specific moment in time. Thank you.
Aleksander Sławiński.
Hello. I need to learn how it works. Oh, right. Hello, my name is Aleksander Sławiński and I represent the Dulac 121 Museum in Pruszków, located just on the outskirts of Warsaw, capital of Poland. Our museum is dedicated to the civilians in the Warsaw Uprising, the largest act of resistance against the Nazi Germany during World War II. Dulac 121 is a short form for Durchgangslager 121, or in English, Transit Camp 121. After the outbreak of Warsaw Uprising, the city was to be completely annihilated and its entire population killed. However, from the sixth day of the uprising, occupants decided to use Warsavians as free labor force in German factories and farms. In Dulac 121, families were brutally torn apart. Those deemed fit for labor were deported to Third Reich as slave workers, while the rest was scattered across the countryside of occupied Poland or sent to concentration camps. In total, more than 500,000 people passed through Dulac 121. Already exhausted, wounded, and starving, they were forced to sleep on bare concrete floors in overcrowded industrial halls with no access to basic sanitation, waiting to be taken by trains in unknown direction. Yet, our museum does not only tell the story of suffering. It is also a powerful testament to human solidarity. Local residents, despite facing poverty themselves, risked everything to help. They brought tons of food, worked in camp canteen, provided medical care, and assisted the prisoners with escaping. The mission of Dulac Museum goes beyond teaching history. We record interviews with the living witnesses, so oral history, unite our local community around their noble heritage, issue publications, as well as organize discussions and lessons for schools. Last year, our museum hosted Sound in the Silent project organized by the ENRS, and the final of this project was actually a very interesting performance. Our institution serves as a universal reminder of a tragic fate of civilians in times of war, both past and today. It also reminds us about the meaning of human solidarity and, above all, moral courage. If you're interested, just ask me afterwards. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And Małgorzata Szumna.
Good evening. I'm very happy to be here today representing the Disinformation Analysis Center, part of the NASK National Research Institute in Warsaw, Poland. And today I want to share a quick case study drawn from our research on the historical disinformation. In 2013 in Poland, 2 flowers were set and chosen as symbol of remembrance for 2 events from 1933. The daffodil was set as a symbol of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. At the same time, the flax flower the flax flower was set as the symbol for the Polish victims of the Wołynia tragedy. Sadly, instead of coexisting, those two symbols quickly started to compete with each other. And I want to focus on the main narrative surrounding them today. As you can see, one of the main narratives today is about poisonous daffodils. This narrative is openly anti-Semitic. The main goal of spreading it is to show that daffodils, being narcissus, are poisonous flowers, with the references to the alleged broken nature of the Jews. At the same time, the flax flowers are presented as innocent, healthy, and useful. This is obviously not accidental, it's strategic. Social media posts don't just describe, they mobilize. They call on users to toss flags over daffodils, to take part in something which is called on Polish social media anti-wheat actions. This creates the pressure on all the social media users. They need to choose one symbol, only one identity. I will skip this. In 2026 alone, we already recorded over 4,000 cases in which those two symbols appear together in the hostile framing. This means that those flowers are no longer just remembrance symbols. They are being actively weaponized in an information battle in the Polish infosphere, distorting the memory of the key Polish events from the Second World War. Meaning that whenever you see this in the Polish social media, always ask who benefit from spreading this information. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Alicja Śmigielska.
Center for Documentation of Deportation, Expulsions and Resettlements is a part of the National Education Commission University. The center combines several functions. It is a research institution, a university museum, an archive, and a special library. Our main goal is saving from oblivion the fate of the Polish citizens who experienced forced deportations, expulsions, and wartime displacement in the 20th century and promoting knowledge about the experiences. One of the most important parts of our work is recording oral history interviews. At the center headquarters, we also present permanent exhibition entitled Deported to Siberia, the Fate of the Polish Citizens Deported into the Soviet Union during the Second World War. The exhibition tells the stories not only of deportation and exile to Siberia, but also the later wartime journey of Polish citizens. However, our activities are focused not only on interviews. We also collect and archive documents, photographs, and personal artifacts, making a film, workshops, and educational projects. A particularly important part of our international activity is protection and documentation of Polish war cemeteries, and especially civilian refugee cemeteries in East and South Africa, dating from the 1940s. So you can see right now on the slideshow. We also share results of our work through our website and social media channels, and we warmly invite you to cooperation and to Kraków to visit our center. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last but not least, Piotr Trojański.
Good evening. My name is Piotr Trojański. I represent the University of National Education Commission in Kraków. And I would like to present a project titled Holocaust Memory Under Pressure, Politicization, Disinformation, and Inversion. And the project starts from a simple observation that the Holocaust memory is no longer threatened only by denial. It is also distorted through misuse, selective interpretation and political instrumentalization. Across Europe, we can see three interconnected processes: the politicization of memory, digital disinformation, and Holocaust inversion, where Holocaust-related categories are detached from historical evidence and used as political tools. My project asks how these three processes appear locally, in places where historical knowledge, public memory, and political narratives do not fully align. I focus on what I call black spots of history and memory. By this I mean local Holocaust-related sites and memory practices where commemoration is insufficient. Sites may be physically neglected, local memory remains weak or fragmented. Narratives are contested and memory is vulnerable to external manipulation. The aim is not to create a complete map of Holocaust memorial sites, but rather a digital geoportal of selected case studies. It will show where and how Holocaust memory becomes fragile, distorted, or politically instrumentalized. I'm looking for international partners to develop comparative case studies and joint educational activities. Thank you for your attention.